Seth Rollins came out on top in the Night 1 main event, and Paul Heyman low-blowing CM Punk and Roman Reigns? Paul Heyman joining forces with Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins had the heist of a century over a decade ago. Now Seth Rollins just created the betrayal of the century. What is going on, everyone? I am D Loves Wrestling, and what a Night 1 main event. We have so much to talk about. First and foremost, let's talk about how fantastic the triple threat match was last night. I feel like WWE couldn't have drawn it out any better than the way they displayed it last night. It had everything that it needed. I love that they waited to involve Paul Heyman at the very end of the match. Props to Roman, Seth, Punk, Paul Heyman. It was a fantastic in-ring match, and it delivered. Let's talk about the ending. Like, we're going to be talking about this main event forever. Watching it live, like, even if you predicted it happening, it was still surreal to watch it happen. Like, it was still such, like, I was in awe. I don't think anyone could actually visually see Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman standing tall at the end of the main event, let alone how it happened. So Paul Heyman wasn't really involved until the very end. In the beginning, I was kind of getting worried. I was like, is Paul Heyman not going to be involved in the main event when the main event is literally all about Paul Heyman? I was getting ahead of myself. I need to relax. I need to enjoy the storytelling because we're going to reach that point. We're going to reach that point. And we did. We reached that point. Paul Heyman, he had enough of seeing CM Punk attack Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns attacking CM Punk. So Paul Heyman was like, I'm grabbing a chair. Paul Heyman, he was walking towards the ring. Roman and Punk, they're looking at Paul because he's got a steel chair in his hand. And they're probably thinking, who's he going to give this to? Is he going to favor Punk because Punk's favor is to have Paul Heyman in his corner? Or is he going to be like, Punk, I know this was your favor for me to walk you down, first ever WrestleMania main event, but this is my tribal chief. End this. Punk made me decide. He made me go against my will for something that I didn't want to do. I need Punk to pay for that. I was unsure of where Paul Heyman was going to go with that. Was he just going to throw it in the center and Roman and Punk were going to have to fight for the chair? But Paul Heyman gave it to Punk. Dude, Roman's face sold this moment so well, so well. It's stuff like that that Roman has perfected over the years. In this particular moment, Roman literally made you feel the betrayal that he was feeling in that very moment by Paul Heyman giving the chair to CM Punk for CM Punk to attack Roman Reigns with the chair. And Paul Heyman gets in the ring and he's about to literally witness CM Punk hit Roman Reigns with the steel chair that he gave him. You see Paul Heyman, he's creeping behind CM Punk as Punk is ready to hit Roman with the chair. And then Paul Heyman low blows CM Punk. Watching it live, I was like, oh, Paul Heyman, he actually doesn't like CM Punk. He is finally listening to Seth Rollins has been explaining all this time that CM Punk is just using Paul Heyman. So I rewatched it. I rewatched it this morning. And now seeing Paul Heyman low blow CM Punk, and right after, Paul Heyman almost broke down crying. I'm going to dive deeper into that just in a few minutes. So Paul Heyman low blows CM Punk. CM Punk falls to the floor. Paul Heyman hands the chair over to Roman Reigns, as it looks like, if you're watching it live, it looks like Paul Heyman was working with Roman Reigns all this time, and nothing is going to separate Paul Heyman from his tribal chief. So he hands over the steel chair to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, he gets multiple shots at Punk. Punk is down and out. Got a low blow from Paul Heyman and multiple chair shots from Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is standing tall. It looks like Roman is going to defeat Punk and Rollins. Roman Reigns wanted to continue his reign of terror on Punk by giving him even more chair shots. Paul Heyman points out to Roman, look behind you. Seth Rollins is right there. Just like the WrestleMania 40 moment that Roman Reigns had, where he could have decided to hit Cody Rhodes, but he hit Seth Rollins instead. Roman Reigns, he listens to Paul Heyman because he's like, oh my God, you're right. I'm going to get revenge on both of these guys, and you're walking away with me at the end of this match. Like, this is an awesome moment for the both of us, wise man. So Paul Heyman, he points it out. He's like, the Shield, my tribal chief. Here it is. The floor is yours. Just hit him with the chair, and it's all said and done. Roman points his attention to Seth Rollins instead of CM Punk. He goes over to Seth Rollins, and he's winding it up, and Paul Heyman sneaks behind Roman very, very slowly, and then Paul Heyman low blows Roman Reigns, and he dug it a little deeper than when he did to CM Punk. I don't know if you saw that. And this is where I'm going to dive back into the thing that I just mentioned a few moments ago. When Paul Heyman low blowed CM Punk, he seemed genuinely upset, like he didn't want to do that. When Paul Heyman low-blowed Roman Reigns, he meant that. It's like he's been wanting to do that for so long. There was no regret at all. Seth Rollins, he finally got up. He was down for quite a few minutes. And as Seth Rollins is standing there, seeming like this is how the both of them drew this up, because Seth Rollins was like, oh yeah, Paul Heyman, he just got revenge on his tribal chief. Was that his favor? We actually don't even know. I don't know if we're going to find out the exact favor on Monday Night Raw. Are we going to find it out tonight on night 2? I'm not really too sure, because we can speculate that Seth Rollins' favor would be Paul Heyman turning on Punk and Roman, but at the same time, if you look back, Paul Heyman, he cared about when he did it to CM Punk, but when he did it to Roman Reigns, that felt good, it seemed like, to Paul Heyman. It's like that wasn't a favor at all. That wasn't against Paul Heyman's will. It seemed like he just wanted to do that. So the favor being confirmed is still up in the air. Is Seth Rollins potentially going to use it tonight? Is he going to tell Paul Heyman to get involved in the main event tonight with Cody Rhodes and John Cena? Paul Heyman hands Seth Rollins the steel chair at the very end, and Seth Rollins hits Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair, very similar to how Seth Rollins turned on the entire Shield, and Seth Rollins gets the 1, 2, 3. Now, I don't know if you caught this. I feel like it was pretty hard to not catch this right after Seth Rollins won. Michael Cole said that Seth Rollins sold his soul to Paul Heyman. Hold on, that's not the storyline. That's not what happened. Maybe Michael Cole was hinting towards Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman are with The Rock. Why else would Michael Cole say that? This whole storyline revolving Paul Heyman had nothing to do with selling your soul to Paul Heyman. If Michael Cole were to bring up anything revolving this storyline, wouldn't the only thing to bring up would be Seth Rollins cashing in his favor, and that's why Paul Heyman did what he did? Not necessarily Seth Rollins selling his soul. That's involving The Rock and John Cena. Or was Michael Cole maybe predicting for tomorrow night's main event, maybe Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman are going to get involved? This main event was perfection. It's everything that I feel like everyone thought it could be and more. Just Seth Rollins selling out in itself, that brings out the best in Seth Rollins. And I loved how even after Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman did everything that they did in the main event, they're singing his song. I love that no one booed Seth Rollins for doing everything that he did. Because if we're looking at the bigger picture, Seth Rollins isn't wrong in anything. He's telling the truth about Roman Reigns, and he's telling the truth about CM Punk as well. And I think it just came down to Paul Heyman finally realizing that Seth Rollins is the only one who genuinely cared about the situation that Paul Heyman was in all this time, and that Punk and Roman have just been relying so much on Paul Heyman and using him for such a long time. So it's the next day. It is currently the morning of night 2. Night 2 is later on today. Are we not going to see Seth and Paul tonight? That's the real question, because a lot of people now are speculating that Seth and Paul are involved with The Rock and John Cena. And if we're being real here, guys, it's not a far stretch. It's not a far stretch at all. I really think it's a possibility that can happen. And why it makes sense, let me tell you, because Seth Rollins could help out John Cena and ruin Cody Rhodes' night, losing the title. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins teamed up last year, right? And Seth Rollins was in the worst condition. I mean, he was wrestling injured. He brought that up to Cody several times. Seth Rollins sacrificed his body for Cody Rhodes to win. And the whole moral of the story of Cody winning was to defeat Roman Reigns and to stop the whole bloodline thing. Fast forward a few months later from WrestleMania 40, where Cody conquers Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns is gone for a while, and Seth Rollins is getting surgery done because he sacrificed his body to help Cody Rhodes and to defeat the bloodline and to end all that. Cody Rhodes teams up with Roman Reigns. He almost revived Roman Reigns in the bloodline, almost resurrecting. Then that followed up to the War Games match, the OG bloodline getting together. Cody Rhodes almost gave life back into Roman Reigns and actually giving the bloodline a chance again. And Seth Rollins sacrificed his body for Cody Rhodes to end the bloodline, to end Roman Reigns. And as we saw last night, Seth Rollins did that on his own But I think now Seth Rollins wants to get their revenge on Cody Rhodes now. And guys, the possibilities that we could see if this faction does come about with Seth, Paul, Rock, and John Cena, especially with Seth winning last night and with John Cena potentially winning tonight, if Seth Rollins and Paul do align themselves with The Rock and Cena, you know how many massive storylines and feuds that we could see? We could see Punk and Roman possibly joining together and helping each other out to take down Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, The Rock, and John Cena. There are so many ways that they could go about that. We'll see tonight if Seth Rollins and Paul are involved with The Rock and John Cena. Because if John is going to win, I don't think it's going to be clean. Whether The Rock comes out and The Rock just helps out John, I think it will be really interesting. One of the biggest recent main events of all time, if we're being honest here. And you have not only John Cena winning and breaking history, becoming a 17th time world champion, but you have them forming this unstoppable faction with Seth, John, and Dwayne, the final boss. That would be insane. You could ride out this heel run from John Cena for as long as you want, really, because Seth Rollins has just become so intriguing now that he's this heel character. He is a heel now, basically. If WWE does it this way, where Seth and Paul are aligned with The Rock and John Cena, I mean, Michael Cole dropping that call last night after Seth won, saying that Seth Rollins sold his soul to Paul Heyman. That's not really what happened if we're looking at the storyline here. There was nothing involving anyone selling their soul to Paul Heyman. If anything, it's just all about trust. Nothing had to do with selling your soul. So I think maybe Cole was hinting towards we're going to see Seth and Paul being involved in tonight's main event with Cody and John. Seth Rollins is becoming Mr. Wrestlemania, guys. I mean, if we go back 10 plus years ago, I believe, Seth Rollins had the heist of the century where he had the groundbreaking cash-in on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And now, 10 years later, we're going to be talking about this main event for years to come. We're going to be talking about it just like how we still talk about the heist of the century that Seth did. This is solidifying Seth Rollins' impact when it comes to WrestleMania, and down the line when Seth Rollins does retire and he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, he will be considered one of the greatest WrestleMania performers of all time. And just shout out to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and CM Punk for the match, but shout out to Seth Rollins for finally getting his flowers that I feel like he deserves. I had Seth Rollins winning last night. I felt like it made a lot of sense. I think Seth is now finally going to be used in the right way that he deserves to be, in a very interesting and serious character, and he flourishes like no other in this type of role. What did you think of the main event with this triple threat? Do you like Seth Rollins walking away with Paul Heyman? Do you think Seth and Paul, are they going to be aligned with The Rock and John Cena in tonight's main event? We will find out, but let me know if you think this is going to happen. Or do you think Paul Heyman is just going to be Seth Rollins' manager in the future? So there's a lot that you can speculate, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. Drop it in the comments down below. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Big night ahead of us, and I can't wait to talk about it tomorrow. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.